On a screen, we have the same nonlinear systems of equations we had on the previous video. And if the substitution method worked, then the combination method is also going to work. And for the combination method, we just have to put our line for operations and we start combining the variables. We could combine the y's, but nothing is going to cancel here because both of them are positive. We could combine the x's, but they're not going to cancel first because they're both negative, and second because one is x, the other one is x squared. Those are not like terms. And that's a problem because for the combination method to work, one of the variables must cancel on this combination. Otherwise, it's not going to work, or it's going to be very hard for it to work. So to fix this problem, we have to multiply one of the two equations by something that helps us cancel. And the top equation looks easier because we just multiply the top equation times a negative. And remember, multiplying times a negative or times anything on the top equation, it means we multiply everybody times that thing. So we multiply the y times the negative x times a negative, and the 5 times a negative. And this just means multiplying times a negative, just change the sign of all of them. The ones that are positive turn to negative, the negatives turn to positive. The reason why we do this is because now the y's are going to cancel because negative y plus y equals 0. Then plus x minus x squared, one more time, they are not like terms. So we cannot just subtract them or anything. We just write them as they are. Plus x minus x squared. Then minus 5 plus 3. Don't forget the rules of signs. The 5 is greater and is negative. So the answer is negative 2. So we got a 0. We were able to cancel the y's. But let's get rid of it. That's the objective on the combinations method. And now let's rewrite this equation in a different place so we can do operations. And we have x minus x squared equals negative 2. So as we mentioned on the previous video, this is a quadratic equation, and we will learn how to solve quadratics on Unit 7. So for the moment, we'll just give you the answers, and the answers for these quadratic equations are x equals 2 and x equals negative 1. One more time, nonlinear systems of equations, most of the situations, most of the scenarios, we're going to get more than one answer. So we now, as the combination method says, we pick any of the two equations remaining. It could be either one, it doesn't matter. Let's pick the top equation, it's easier, the x is not squared, so let's pick, it's always better to pick the easier equation, unless you want to practice or you want to challenge yourself. But regardless of the equation you pick, you'll get the same solution. So in this video, let's pick the easier equation. And now we start replacing. First, let's replace x equals negative 1. So we replace it and we get minus y minus 1 equals negative 5. We know how to solve these equations. We have to solve for y. Let's start by moving the negative 1 to the other side using a positive 1 so they cancel. But if we do it on the left, we also have to do positive 1 on the right, and then we combine. Minus 5 plus 1 is negative 4. We still have not solved yet because the y has a negative. It cannot have a negative if we want to solve. So we can move it to the other side either by dividing by 1, or by dividing by negative 1, or multiplying by negative 1. The reason we do it is because the negatives cancel, but we have to multiply by negative 1 the other side. Minus 4 times minus 1, rules of signs, negative times negative cancels, and we get positive 4. So when we plugged x equals negative 1, we got y equals 4. Then we take the second value, which is x equals 2, and we plug it again into our equation, giving us minus y plus 2 equals negative 5, and we solve. The inverse operation of a positive 2 is a negative 2. They cancel, but if we do it on the left, we have to subtract by negative 2 on the right. Minus 5 minus 2, both are negative, so we add them together. 5 plus 2 is 7, we keep the negative, so negative 7. And one more time, the y has a negative, so we can cancel it by dividing by negative 1 or multiplying by negative 1. The negatives cancel, but we have to multiply times negative 1 the right side as well. Negative 7 times negative 1 equals positive 7. And these are the two values of y. All we have to do now is match them. When we plugged x equals -1, we got y equals 4. This is one of our answers, -1 and 4. When we plugged x equals 2, we got y equals 7. And this was another of our answers. Remember, the x-coordinate goes first in the parentheses, the y-coordinate goes second in the parentheses, and these are our two solutions to the systems of equations. One more time, we get the same answer. So regardless of the process or the method we select, we should get the same answer.